Happy Friday, everybody. Today we're going to look at an older piece of rolling stock. So for the last few weeks, I've been looking at a little more of the premium end rolling stock, and I figured it's time to go back and do a little bit of my budget stuff. This is, I wouldn't call vintage, but relatively old piece of Con-Cor to the best of my knowledge. There's no identifying marks on this, but I believe this is a Con-Cor tank car. On eBay, you can find this particular one every now and then, but I definitely see this body design pretty regularly with different road names, road numbers, that type of stuff. I believe that they probably made two different road numbers for this particular paint scheme, we'll call it. I have 8 of these and they all have the same road number, and back when I first got started in railroading, these were some of the first cars that I bought. And at that point in time, road number wasn't really a big deal to me. I just wanted to have a unit tank train, and these were about the cheapest out there I could find. I at that time knew that I did not like Rapido couplers, and these came with micro trains pre-installed. Now, from the factory, these would have come with Rapido, or Con-Cor makes a pseudo knuckle coupler that will fit in place, and a lot of times they'll send it with excuse me, some of their cars. I got a review coming up for some grain hoppers in the future, and I will show you what some of those look like, but I've seen them both ways. These someone did a microtrans conversion on, and these were actually some of the first cars that I got that actually had microtrans couplers. Because these have some age on them, you more than likely are going to have to do some service. Even with microtrans couplers installed on these, they've got some time on them, and the wheel sets are probably worn out. They have a lot of rolling friction, and normally I would have just upgraded these, but they actually are relatively heavy for their size. Con-Cor puts weights inside of these, and there are certain specifications for those to be within, and I do not believe these are even close. They run pretty heavy. This has a distinct advantage for me because I do a lot of review stuff. I can put 8 of these in consist with a couple of the buffer cars on each end, and it can be a really difficult pull for a single engine. So I kind of use these to test pulling power on my layout and give me a good indication on the capabilities of an engine I'm reviewing. If it can't pull all 8, they start pulling tank cars out of the train just to see where we're at. So that being said, if you were to purchase these, there's a good chance you probably need to do a little bit of maintenance, so that's something to consider when you start looking at the price. These are definitely beginner, intermediate level. I don't know that they have good enough detail to be on a really high-end layout, but for the average user, the detail is pretty decent. One thing about these is they're relatively robust. The handrails are nice and thick and tough. You're going to be hard-pressed to break this thing, which is nice compared to some other tank cars, although I really like the detail. When you want to just throw stuff on the layout, these things are pretty hard to do damage to. Some of the higher end tank cars have a lot of small plastic parts that can be easily damaged. Like I said, these are definitely showing their age. You can see some of the decals and stickers are coming off. I'm hoping that when I get my decal printer working here, we can do some cool work on these, because these are some of my favorite pieces of rolling stock. Oops. But yeah, they're pretty basic. There's not much to them. Detail isn't super high end, but if you get these for the right price point, they can definitely be a good addition to your layout. Without a whole lot more to talk about on these, they are pretty simple. When properly converted to microtrains, although these have a lot of rolling resistance, the one car that I have changed over does actually roll pretty nice and smooth with new wheels in it. I did not change the truck set, I just put new wheels under it. They're super reliable. They pull or push through turnouts pretty well, which is unusual for tank cars in my experience. The finickiness of tank cars is they don't like to be pushed through turnouts very well. There's something to do with their body design and the slightly higher center of gravity because of the way they're built. I just have bad luck pushing my tank cars through turnouts. These, on the other hand, are very set it and forget it and are really reliable for me, which is also another reason why I use them as my test bench for a lot of my locomotives. So it's time to talk price on these because it is difficult to find affordable rolling stock now. I have seen these in a lot of the Trains or Trainsy listings on eBay, thrown in with some of the lots, and generally they're pushing their cars out of in their lots at about $7.50 a car, and that's a really good price point for these. Seeing as how there's only 2 road numbers per road name, and there's several different paint jobs, you can find sets of 2 of these occasionally on eBay in the $25 range, and that sets these firmly in that $12 to $13 affordable price point that I like to set. The problem is a lot of them still come with the original wheel sets, and so you have to spend another $5 to put micro trains under them or something of similar price point. That ends up pushing these into a higher dollar tier that I don't think they're good for, but there are bargains out there where you can get these things with the micro trains pre-installed for about $10 to $12, and I've come across a couple of them on eBay. So if you're watching maybe the Trains show and you find these things, they kind of come off as a bargain, and they definitely are, but they are really good runners, so I would highly recommend picking these up. They've never served me, or they've never done me wrong. They've always been really reliable, and I picked them up about 2 years ago for a set of 8 for $100, so I'm still right in on there on that price point, and I had much less experience than finding good, used, and affordable rolling stock. So I was really comfortable paying that price, and I think anybody, if you find these in the wild, that $10 to $12 with a good microtrans conversion already done, spot on, buy them. I think you'll really enjoy them. All right, I will see you this Sunday for the review. We got some SD70 Max on the horizon, so that'll be fun. They're some of my favorite engines. All right.